Storm season here in Florida is coming up, so we're going to be talking about possible roof claims that you might be filing when it comes to storm damage. And this could be anywhere around the country because this video is actually going to talk about insurance companies nationwide, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and more importantly, how you can try and have the best success and probability of at least getting your claim paid. My name is Mike Keeler, and I'm a licensed public adjuster here in Florida. So know thy enemy. If you know your enemy, you're going to know what playbook they're going to try and use. All my videos, I am literally telling you what insurance companies are going to do, how they do it, and why they do it. Every single video of mine, I am letting you know how they operate, how they do things. So when you know your enemy, as in this case, when you're talking about roof claims, insurance companies are prepared more so to deny your claim than to pay your claim these days. The way roof claims are handled across the USA, and especially for us people here in Florida, homeowners, are completely different than just 5 years ago. So you need to know what they will do, how they will do it, as I mentioned, and why they're going to do it. This part of the history is important. So how they're going to do it. Okay, how are they going to possibly deny your claim? Well, they're going to take a variety of ways. So they're going to examine your date of loss that you call in and you report if you don't have anybody representing you. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make. I continue to tell people, why are you trying to handle a claim yourselves? If you get in an accident, you hire an attorney. They tell you, don't talk with the insurance company. With property loss claims, people hire public adjusters. So many people try to do this by themselves, and it just blows my mind, especially now more than ever. So they're going to do it by a variety of ways. The date of loss, whether there was enough wind or lack of wind. They're going to try and take your recorded statement. They're going to request documents, request you do proof of loss. And they're going to have their claim denial specialist, aka their paid engineer, come out and write up a fabricated report. Now, these are all meant as a setup to deny your claim or legally have your case thrown out at a later date if you end up in a lawsuit. So why do they do it? Why are they doing it now more than ever? Well, for years, the insurance companies had to pay roof claims. And it's the number one most paid out type of claim. In other words, anything from the wind, hail, the roof claims in general. Alrighty? And they have now drawn the red line and said enough is enough. Don't forget, please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos similar to this. So what has changed? Several states across the nation, including Florida, Florida has really had drastic changes of the laws over the last couple of years since DeSantis came in. See, DeSantis and then also Jimmy Patronis, the what do you call it? The CFO, Chief Financial Officer, who runs the Department of Financial Services, who governs insurance companies. So DeSantis got $10 million for his presidential campaign from insurance companies, and Patronis got $3 million. So your politicians here in Florida, and like every other state, are owned by the insurance companies. So they have decided not to pay claims now here in Florida, and I'm seeing this around the country, until and unless you file a lawsuit. and start to go through that. So this has been a drastic change from years ago. Okay, where 10, 15 years ago, you could settle the roof claim by yourself. 5 years ago, in sporadic cases in sporadic areas, now can't do it. You need to bring somebody aboard right away. Public adjuster. I always say attorney's a last resort because of how expensive and the amount of fees they charge. So here are going to be some tips on how you can have a successful roof claim. Again, know thy enemy and know the pitfalls. Be 100% positive on your date of loss for the storm. And you want there to be winds that accompany that storm. You cannot call in and say, hey, we had a thunderstorm and now I got leaks coming in. A thunderstorm by itself is not covered. It would have to be winds 50 miles plus, okay? Preferably for a extended period of time, hours would be great. But of course, I think the biggest issue that I see when we're talking about wind claims is that a roofer will come around and tell people, and I'm not trying to blame them, but a roofer will come around and say, well, you can make a claim for this date because there was a storm. And I can't tell you how many times that's backfired because the insurance company has a weather database, just like we have a weather database where we look back and we look and we're like, okay, well, that date there wasn't significant winds. There was rain, but not significant winds. So you can't rely solely on your roofer telling you that there's a certain date. You also have to do your research. This is where calling a public adjuster, calling an attorney can be helpful. Don't just guess at the date of loss. Why am I telling you this over and over? Because this is what I see over and over. Mistakes for the date of loss. So some other things that you can do to strengthen your roof claim. If your neighborhood got a pretty good amount of damage and multiple people have tarps, as a neighborhood with your neighbors, get affidavits and share them with each other. Okay? Make copies. Because this way you have strength in numbers. Now you got witnesses. Okay? You want to get, if you have a pretty good relationship or you know a roofer who will be helpful, you want him to get damage of the wind by way of photographs and videos, and also in those cases with hail. Would be helpful if the roofer can be there when the field adjuster for the insurance company comes. You also want to get an estimate if you're going to try and do this yourselves. Get an estimate from the roofer. If you are only dealing with a roof issue and you have no interior damages, then I guess it's okay for you to try to work out something with this insurance company. But 95% of those are going to get denied, 99%, whatever the number is. If you have interior damages, you need to hire somebody. I guess if you just have one little ceiling area and it's just going to be a few $100 for drywall, no. But if you have a pretty good amount, yeah, I definitely would hire somebody to help in the claim. So I'm just touching on these points on how you can have hopefully a successful claim when it happens from storm damage. So a lot of times this happens, especially in Florida, where a roof claim is reported months after the event. So be prepared. Again, I'm giving you the playbook. What the insurance companies are going to look at and scrutinize and criticize you over. Why did you report it so late, Mr. Smith? It is 8 months, a year and a half. It's 2 years. So in Florida, we used to be able, after a hurricane, you can file a claim 3 years after the date of the hurricane. Now they've done it down to 1 year. The change of the laws. It's what happens when you pay off politicians. You could write your way to laws that just benefit the insurance company and screw the homeowners. So here's how you answer that. This is what many of my clients have said in depositions and just everyday conversations with me or the insurance company. They would say that initially, right after the storm, a week, that day, a couple days later, whatever it is. But within a couple weeks, a couple days, they initially noticed a leak, but they didn't think much of it. They didn't think it was a big deal. And then months down the road, it got worse, and then it happened in other areas. So they'll say then that I'm not a roofer, so I wouldn't know what to look for by going on the roof. This is what they've said to the insurance company. So I filed the claim noting that this is much more serious than I originally thought when I first noticed the leak in the kitchen, the leak in the bedroom, the leak in the garage, wherever, a couple days or a couple weeks after the event of whatever that date is. Okay? This is really good information here. Because a lot of people do report it late. And it's okay. You can with roof claims. So if you file a claim, be prepared to fight for your claim. Okay, let me repeat that again. If you file a claim, be prepared to fight for your claim. I can't tell you how many times this doesn't happen. As I mentioned, the times have changed. There's a very good chance, unless you were hit by a tornado or hurricane, your roof claim is going to get denied. Very good chance. If you don't intend to fight it, which includes going through a lawsuit, then you should think twice about filing the claim. Yes, you should. So does the math add up before or during your roof claim? Let me explain. If it's only your roof and you have no interior damages, okay, no damages inside, does the math add up to make it worthwhile to file a claim and fight with the insurance company for a year, possibly? If they deny it, then you have to file a lawsuit. Let me explain. We're going to go through a scenario. So let's take the cost to replace a roof. Let's just say you have a shingle roof and it's $25,000. Okay? If your roof is over 10 years old, expect them to take 50% depreciation. On a shingle roof, they're going to take that. Now, a concrete tile roof, it may not be half, but it'll be close. So let's take that scenario, 12.5. 12.5 here, right? Cost to replace the roof is $25,000. You're going to take $12,500 for depreciation. Your deductible. So in Florida, we have a hurricane deductible. 2%, 5%. Let's just say 2%, $300,000 house. Okay, what does that come to? Oh, 30, 15, so about, let's just say 6,000. Okay? So now we're at total coming off of your 25,000, 18,500. Which means if everything goes great, you're going to get a check for what? 6,500. So my formula based on this, 6,500, if the formula and it comes out to less than 10,000, it's probably not worth filing the claim. If the formula I just did and it's over 20,000, then you have some thinking to do and you probably should file the claim. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to wrap this up by just saying times have changed, people. Insurance companies are at war with homeowners when it comes to roof claims, with roofers, with attorneys, with public adjusters. They just don't want to pay it. You have to do everything you possibly can to put yourself in the best situation to have a successful roof claim. Where does that start? Well, you saw my list. In my opinion, it starts with getting somebody to represent you, whether that be a public adjuster or an attorney. My opinion also is that you should always wait for an attorney until the very last resort because of the fees that they charge. Okay? So it's just the times that we're living in. Insurance companies won. They paid off politicians. They cried wolf, talking about all these fraudulent roof claims, especially here in Florida. But yet there's never been a fraudulent lawsuit that I'm aware of for a claim involving a roof and replacing the roof or whatever the case might be. So you just have to do this smarter. It is not 10, 15 years ago where you can handle this yourselves. I'm still getting calls and people are still doing it. Until the day when everybody finally realizes I cannot handle this myself because I know something's going to go wrong, is when things will start to turn to be better for you as a homeowner and not get denied as much because they're going to have to look at legal costs at some point. So my name is Mike Keeler. I'm a licensed public adjuster here in Florida. If you have a question or need help with a claim, there's information on how you can get a hold of me. The email, I know that little circle's blocking it out, but it's theclaimsquad@gmail.com. The website is www.theclaimsquad.com. Thanks for watching this video.